Hi, it's Ross Jeffries here with an Answers to Students video module for December 2009. And I like this question. This is a question about seduction algorithms. What are the overall basic pieces which, when you fit together, allow you to do multiple variations and come out with the same end result? And here you can see Joe's question. Basically, he's got three of the elements. He rehearses his state, he goes in with an opener, and then he goes to like a game, a snack, or a quiz. And so I think Joe is looking for more flexibility and also to see if he's leaving anything out. And remember, Joe, and those of you who are watching this, if you want to get excellent at speed seduction as well as any other skill set, there's what you do to prepare. There's what you do sequentially. In other words, do you have all the pieces that you're only going to do at a certain point in the skill? You're not going to do these things all the time, but you're only going to do them at a certain point. Are you aware of and do you have a good degree of competency at those things that you're going to be doing all the time? There's certain skill sets that you're always going to be exercising throughout the process. Then there are the things that you do periodically. There are things that you're going to return to over certain periods of time throughout the process. There's what you do when you close the deal. And finally, there's your review process. Do you have a really good review process? So as you're listening and really absorbing this answer, I would also encourage you to look at these various different places in time for your activity and decide where you might need some work. Here's a big skill set that I think that you're not thinking about, Joe, which is noticing and utilizing her responses. What I see is a sort of mechanistic, one-sided approach where you do A, B, C, D, but what you're not factoring in is the skill set of noticing and utilizing her responses. Now, maybe in fact you are doing it. I don't see that in the question. So it's really important with speed seduction to remember that a big piece of the skill set, like a third of it, is knowing how to notice her responses. Are you getting trance words from her? Are you getting her personal trance anchors? Are you able to see, hey, she's really responding to this particular format? In other words, she really likes games, but she doesn't respond well to questions. Or she really likes this particular theme, but she doesn't like that theme. She really seems to respond more when I come from a powerful commanding vibe as opposed to being funny. Are you able to notice her responses and let her responses shape what your behavior is going to be? This is a key skill set that I think you would really do well. And another piece before I move on here is also to encourage you to look at the nonverbal portions of the skill set, meaning, strike that it's not that they're nonverbal, but they're analog. And the difference being that rather than being the exact words, it's how you say them. So one skill set you may want to look at as well is knowing when you're going to begin to shift your speaking in a way that becomes more hypnotic and intriguing. So again, my question is, how are you noticing and using her responses? What are you understanding? What are your understandings about how to do that within that skill set? So after the openers, let's say we've got that down. Sequentially, here's what you can do. You can go to a game or a quiz, which is what you've been doing. From that game or quiz, depending on how she responds, if she responds well, you can talk about the theme that that game and quiz brings up. For example, if you're doing twin brothers and you go through that, you can say, you know, I think you learn so much about people by learning how they connect deeply with your desires, Debbie. And you know, my friend was saying that when you feel that strongly and you look through a window at something you really want, you understand? So you can play off of that. Or you could go to a seduction question. We will do a module this month on seduction questions. It's coming up, so you'll see it. Look in the members area. Or, you know, you could go to something you notice about her. You know, I just realized something. You make imagery in your mind very, very vividly. Let me show you something. And from there, you can go to a demo. Remember, this is a really important piece too. How are you using embedded commands? How are you using suggestions? No matter what particular format you're using, a game, a quiz, the cube, a joke, a question, you always want to be embedding commands and suggestions. These are the workhorses of speed seduction. So one of the things you also want to look at, Joe, is big chunk, small chunk distinctions. Do you need to improve the small chunk pieces, like how to use commands and suggestions, or do you need to improve large chunk, your conceptual understandings, or both? So one thing I want to do for you is to suggest that you practice embedded commands and self-referring gestures throughout every phase of the algorithm. No matter what you're doing, I give you the assignment of writing down in advance some of the embedded commands and even sexual metaphor you're going to use, and then practice using them through every format. Practice using them through playing games, practice using them through quizzes, practice using them through seduction questions, practice using them through demos, practice using them in how you bring up themes. Practice, 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 practice suggestions and commands, and then how you notice the responses and utilize them.